Ike Perlmutter in the crosshairs with Disney after his departure from the company last week. In this interview in the Journal, the ExMarvel chief says, "I have no doubt that my termination was based on fundamental differences in business between my thinking and Disney leadership because I care about return on investment." Perlmutter recently lobbied for Nelson Peltz to join Disney's board in connection with that now terminated proxy fight. And in a press release overnight, he said he'll continue to hold his Disney shares and advocate for improved cost structure. The picture of his departure, Jim, really filling in here between, as he says, the creative community at Disney is powerful.
Right. Well, I mean, Ike's view is largely based on the fact that it was possible to take these characters from Marvel and make low-budget movies that made a fortune. Instead, it got hijacked by the creative people who make incredibly high-budget movies and make far less. So you meld that with the fact that Ike is forever saying the overpay for Fox, and then it's very difficult to figure out where exactly it is. And you have a company that's spending way too much money still. Now, Nelson Peltz wanted to attack that spending, too, particularly in Hollywood. You know, the spending in Hollywood is way too high. Now, I want to emphasize that Bob Iger was trying to identify with those, but Ike's irascible. I like him. I think what he's about, there should be an Ike Perlmutter in every boardroom in America who just says, I want to question that. I want to question that. And now, does he do it in a way that makes you feel like, well, it's warm and fuzzy? When is a boardroom supposed to be warm and fuzzy? You know, we have a lot of boardrooms that I've sat in actual meetings at boards, and they're very much like a faculty meeting at Harvard. It's like, well, I think maybe history and literature should be more of an emphasis.
Yeah. Interesting. Meanwhile, the streaming chief at Disney, Michael Paul, is going to leave.
Yeah.
The Hulu guy is going to take over. Paul's leaving after 6 years. Need him today, Jim. Laura Martin writes, Bob Iger on the Florida stuff quickly won the battle, where they have 75,000 theme park full-time employees, promising to invest the $17 billion in the state and making DeSantis look anti-business, which Needham argues is a negative for Republicans.
I love that. It was negative for his presidential opportunity. I don't think Iger's idle to that. I think he recognizes maybe this change in streaming. He's got to cut costs, and he's got to change the way Hollywood makes things. Now, maybe no one wants. If I were Bob Iger, I'd say, what does Jim Cramer know about Hollywood? Here's what I know about it. I know about stocks. And like Ike, I have seen this stock be crushed. And there's no dividend. And it was a great dividend. You made a lot of money. I bet you Ike made about $80 million a year from his dividends.
Yes.
Well, where did that go? Okay. Now, Ike, we're not in a communist country where we say, well, that's Ike's fault. He bought the stock and he held on to it. He should have cashed out. No, we're big capitalists here. And I think that Ike's point about not getting a dividend because they spend too much money on Hollywood and Fox is so textbook that only people who are maybe even more thin-skinned than I am would say that was wrong.
Well, the pushback's going to be there's a reason why creatives want to work at Disney, and that's because they're given priority. They're treated well. They're given freedom, right? Isn't that how we get great franchises?
All right. I think that you can make movies without them because we know how to program what they would say. I don't think people realize what's happening in this country.
That's really everything is coming back today.
What's happening in this country? I don't think people realize. I just don't think they understand. We don't need expensive people. We don't need people who write things
of any sort. Journalism, advertising, screenplays.
No.
Human.
Well, screenplays, because Jensen's a humanist, but there's a Globe Theater that he showed me where we can see actual Shakespearean characters and put us in the third row. People don't see it.